Quality Matters for, oh, maybe I'll start it now. I'm Jim Snyder with Quality Matters, and this is an overview of Quality Matters for Moravian College. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Quality Matters rubric, a little bit of the overview around how we got started and where we are today, and how you can use the rubric for developing effective online courses. Talk a little bit about where we started from. We have been around since 2003. We started as a FIPSI grant, higher ed FIPSI grant from the Department of Ed to develop the first standards, Quality Matters standards, which were derived from some others, as well as a lot of research went into building that first iteration of the standards for higher ed. We are now in our 6th edition, which I will talk about a little bit more. So we've done some iterations since then. We became a bootstrapped nonprofit organization on our own in 2006, and we've been self-funded ever since. And in 2014, we became a standalone 501c3 organization away from our parent organization, which was Maryland Online, which is just down the road from you guys in Maryland. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we call the 4 C's of the Quality Matters principles. These are sort of our values, which since this was born out of higher ed, some of these will sound a lot like values that you probably have within your own organization too. We are collaborative. We are educational professionals working together. We have 38 employees at Quality Matters. We're a 100% virtual organization, but a lot of us have come from higher ed background. We look at ourselves as collegial, so we are always into you're joining a community when you become members of Quality Matters. So we are always looking to share ideas, and we come at this from the area of continuous improvement. And you'll see this when I talk about having courses potentially reviewed, both by yourselves or Quality Matters, that we always look at continuous improvement. So that's it's a journey, not a destination for where you're going. And we are very much centered on student learning and centered on research. So we are backing everything that we've created on research, and centered it with the idea that we are here to help improve student learning, student engagement, student retention within courses. For us, Quality Matters is really around online quality. And if you think about online quality, we say that there are 7 factors that go into an online learner experience. The one that we are most famous for, or most known for, is course design. So that's the creation of the online or blended course. Obviously, the course delivery is where faculty come in, how it is taught, the content as well, the curriculum decisions that you make within your institution and decide to put into the course, the institutional infrastructure, the LMS by which you're delivering the course, and then faculty and student readiness to deliver online and be receptive to online or blended learning. Quality Matters did start out in the course design area, but then we have since moved over into some of the other areas that I will discuss a little bit more as we go. So you are one of our 1,200 plus member institutions. We are in we're in 49 of the 50 US states, although I don't think we've inked the deal yet, but New Hampshire was our one lone holdout state, and I think we will have some members there very, very shortly. We're also in 19 other countries, and since 2006, we have trained over 90,000 faculty and staff who've gone through different different professional development offerings that we have. And then currently, right now, we have 3,500 QM certified reviewers to go in and review courses, and those are those are instructors just like yourself who have taken professional development through Quality Matters to become certified reviewers. Just a quick little map of where we are. This map is a little old, but it gives a good idea that the bulk of our members are in the United States and Canada, and then Australia. But then we've just really been growing ever since. So this area continues to grow, and we are pleased that is happening. Obviously, these last few months have helped our growth, but not in a way that we were expecting. But it is I guess we'll take it. Not only do we have members, but we also have partnerships. So we worked with Fudan University to create a Chinese version of our standards, and some of these other partners as well. So we are working with them on different offerings, as well as serving in leadership capacities at some of these. Some of our faculty and staff are, and just also sharing, because we work in a collegial and collaborative manner. We are always working to share ideas and best practices. So I'm going to talk about a little bit why are you here? You're here to learn how to connect to learners in potentially a different modality than you might have done before. We'll look to setting goals of quality in your course design. So looking at how do you design courses, and I'm going to talk a lot about the Quality Matters rubric, as well as some other tools that you have available to you as a member of Quality Matters, and what does that do? So when it comes to online learning and quality, who really cares about quality? Well, everybody does, from the accreditors, the administration, faculty, staff, to learners and parents, as well as external stakeholders as well. So really looking at, and you've seen a lot of this around, what is this remote learning over these last couple of months? How has that been taken in terms of a quality education? So this is pretty timely here today. So when you're thinking about quality assurance goals, what are the ones that you think about in the area of improving course design, improving and creating professional development opportunities, demonstrating a quality assurance process, really looking at continuous improvement, potentially want to benchmark yourselves against others to know sort of where you are so that you can continuously improve, and potentially making institutional changes within the whole institution to continue to grow and improve. We call this sort of stair-step model the Quality Matters Continuum of Excellence. So where do you start out, and then where are you moving? It's very much of a journey, and you can see all along this way you're doing continuous improvement. So you might be currently at the ad hoc area where you're looking at potentially how do you improve a particular course or a particular module within a course, or something along those lines, to really developing a whole quality assurance process, using that quality assurance process for continuous improvement, benchmarking yourselves against how do you compare and connect across an institution or other institutions, and then really looking to sustain high quality across the board. So this is a little bit of the background of sort of where Quality Matters is coming from. And Quality Matters works with all of those goals. We are very adaptable, and it's not something that you purchase off the shelf and you install into a system. It very much is a process with tools, and especially you'll see with our standards, it's a way that you can use to benchmark where you are, based on research and where you'd like to go. So it doesn't it doesn't really matter how what the organizational culture is, what your government structure is, the size, uh, or where you are in your professional development. We are really here to meet you at each of the levels that you're on the continuum of excellence, and how you can continue to grow and move forward as you go. I will stop here for a second and see if anyone has any questions. I give the 10-second instructor pause, and hearing none, I will continue. So we're going to look a little bit around quality assurance. Quality Matters now has branched out. We work all the way from K-12 all the way through to continuing and professional education. We really started at the higher ed level, so that's where I'm going to focus on here. And really the question is, what is quality, and what does quality mean when we're talking about course design? And that's what I'm going to talk about today. So when we look at the standards, which I'm going to show you in a second, we are really looking at, what does quality mean? It means more than average, better than good enough. And what does that mean? Well, I'll show you in a little bit. But if you look at all of our standards, there are point values associated with our standards, and we are looking at something that is in the area of quality is at the 85% level or better. Why the 85% level? Because that's where we're saying, if you're looking at a continuous improvement model, you never really reach perfection. And what is perfection? Anyway, when we're looking at these standards, you're really looking at, how do you get to a particular level and understand where's the journey and where do you need to go to continue to grow, and you have this room to grow within this definition of quality. The Quality Matters rubric was built by the community, looking at research and what was best practices in the industry. And I'll talk a little bit more about where you can find some of that research if you are so interested. It's available on our website. And our whole idea is that we believe all courses can meet Quality Matters standards. It is a progress, and we're not looking to meet a certain perfection, but you can meet that particular threshold if you decide to. Quality Matters is in the 6th iteration of our higher educational standards and rubrics, and that is for you. Our design standards, it is not a checklist. There is not a template that you use. There are many ways to meet the standards. There's not a prescription that you have to follow. These standards are, as you've seen, since we're in the 6th iteration, they're updated regularly and research supported. And really the best part of being a member is you get rich annotations which provide examples around each of the areas of the standards that you are looking to evaluate your course or courses against. So here are the 8 general standards. These are the 8 general standards that make up when you're thinking about a course design. Standard 1 is course overview and introductions. Do the students know how to get started in the course? And obviously the learning objectives, which is number 2, are the learning objectives measurable at a course or module level? Do they connect to activities that your learners are going to do? So that's what we're talking about when we talk about learning objectives, assessment and measures. Do your assessments measure your objectives? Is your grading policy clear and forthright? Instructional materials, can the learners meet all their objectives with the tools that they have at hand that are provided in the online learning environment or the blended learning environment? Learning activities and learner interaction. This is where you're scaffolding their learning, and how do you do that? Access to technology, course technology. So what's part of the course? Do the students have access to all the technology they need to be successful? Then learner support. there are really 4 types of learner support that come with this standard: technology support, disability support, academic support, and student support. And then lastly, is the accessibility and usability. Are the text and images accessible? Can you navigate through the pages, screen readers, and the like? So these are the 8 general standards that make up the idea of course design. And then underneath that, in the 6th edition of the higher ed rubric, there are 42 specific review standards. So each of the general standards have some specific review standards. Some of them are interrelated. All of the review standards support competency-based education. That's that CBE. And it doesn't matter what LMS or what technology you're using. They're very agnostic. We're open to whatever LMS. I'm not sure. Do you guys use Canvas? I think you use Canvas. Is that, Bernie, you might know from
Yes,
speaking.
yes,
Yep.
Canvas.
So, which, I mean, we're okay. You know, D2L, Brightspace, Blackboard, all of those. Within the specific review standards, we have some standards that need to align. And when we talk about alignment, there are critical course elements that work together to ensure that learners will be able to achieve their learner outcomes. So really looking at building a solid foundation and a solid course. So the learner objectives, if you think about it, starting to learn objectives, they really fit the foundation of a course. And this, whether this is so what are the students going to learn? And then the support of those are the instructional materials, the course activities, and the course tools. And then all of these must be, the assessment is at the top so that you can understand, did the students learn what it was that I wanted them to learn? And am I assessing them in the manner that works well? So when it comes down to, when I talked about meeting 85% of the standards, all of these standards here need to be met in order for a course to be considered a high quality matters certified course. So when we're talking, so obviously if the learning objectives are not measurable, then the course itself isn't going to be a high quality course. It doesn't matter if you meet the other standards within that. So I've talked that's my little overview of the standards. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about being able to use those standards when you go in and review courses. And there are 2 ways that you can do course reviews. And there are tools that you have access to as Quality Matter members. One is an internal review. So you can do an internal review. There are 2 types of internal reviews, and I'll explain those in a second. But those are reviews that you would do for improvement, really just to see where you are, how you're doing against the standards, but not for benchmarking and not for certification. Those would be the official QM reviews, where you would work with us and we would bring in a team of people to review the courses for you, provide you with some feedback. Internal course reviews, there are 2. There's a self-review, which is just sort of how it sounds. It's a personal, for yourself, confidential review where you can use the standards and rubrics and some of our software, if you'd like, to informally go through or internally go through and review your course against those standards to see if you meet or don't meet the standards and how can you improve it. Another type of internal review is an internal review managed through the CRMS, where you would invite some of your peers. Some of them could have gone through some of our professional development training, and they would review your course and provide feedback around how they feel you're meeting those standards or where you could improve. So and the first one, the self-review, is confidential. The the main contact at your institution, which right now is Bernie, would get notification that you're doing a review, but he would not be able to see any of the comments that you put in or the actual final report. The internal review, that report, they would be able to see, as well as the people who are filling in the report would be able to see. So it's a good way to benchmark and just sort of see how you're doing. A QM managed review is just sort of how it sounds, a team of 3 people who have gone through Quality Matters training on how to be reviewers and how to write recommendations for and how to use the rubric, would go in and do a QM managed review. You would create a shell of a course for us. There is an additional cost to have this done, but we would go in and review the course. If the course meets the standards at the 85% level and all of the essential standards, then you get this certification mark. Obviously yours would say 2020 or 21, depending, but that would be something that you could display either on your syllabus or in your course catalog or with your course online. And those certification marks are good for 5 years, as long as you don't make any demonstrative, big changes to the course. So these are the ways that you can demonstrate your quality assurance commitment. We have 5 different standards. So you have 5 different seals, but for you, the certification at the higher ed level would be the one that you would look at. What is the peer review process? Remember, I talked about it being a continuous improvement and providing feedback. This is any of the reviews that you do. I'm looking at it from the official QM review process, but this is also how you would do a self-review as well. If you start at the course at the top, the course representative is the person who helped, who built the course or was teaching the course. And then a team of 3 people would come in and review, or some internal person would review it. They would provide feedback to the course against those standards. Either you or instructional designers, if there's some feedback that is actionable, you would make those revisions, and then it would be reviewed again, and the course would become certified. And then you can go through and do that revisions again and again towards working towards just continuous improvement. An official course review, as I said, has three reviewers. 1 serves as a chair. They're called the master reviewer, and then 2 are peer reviewers. 1 of the reviewers is a subject matter expert. So if this is Spanish or a foreign language, there would be a foreign language person on the team, and then there would be a course representative who would be involved in the pre-discussions, sort of set the stage, and then would be able to be consulted during the review, and then they would get the information at the end of the review. So this is how long a formal review takes, but so if you're thinking about doing a self-review or an internal review, this obviously you could get through these a lot faster, but it takes roughly around 6 weeks to complete from when you start setting it up and put the calendar together, a couple weeks to review the course, maybe 3 weeks to review the course and provide feedback, and then you have the ability to make changes. And so you have an additional 14 weeks or so to make changes if you need to. Otherwise, it's up to you on how you want to use the information that you have gotten. Why would you do a review against standards? I mean, really, this again is these might be new modalities of delivery for you, so you're always looking for continuous improvement. You can get some recognition both internally and potentially externally if you do an official review. You can use these for benchmarking, sort of where you are against others. We have 1,200 other member institutions, many of which have courses reviewed. We list out what courses have been reviewed by institution on our website. This provides additional positive feedback for faculty, and the research demonstrates that quality online courses helps learners with improved retention and improved engagement within a particular course. I'm going to breeze through these. We have some program certifications as well, which if you think about, if you have an entire online program, we will also evaluate those, but I don't think that's germane for you guys right now. I'm going to stop and ask if there are any questions around the standards before I dive into a little bit around professional development.
Jim, it seems like a lot of these are applicable to face-to-face courses as well.
Some of this can be applicable when you really look at the design standards sort of in their generic can be. It's when you access every single one of your faculty and staff members at Moravian have access to what we call our course review management system. And within each of the standards, there are annotations, and those annotations provide examples that are more germane to online or blended learning. But from an overall concept, some of these are very much applicable for face-to-face. And we've actually are looking at research where some of these standards are used for face-to-face as well. And some like accessibility are probably not as important because screen readers and things like that. But yes, they are.
Hi, Jim. My name's Anne Marie Potter.
Hi.
Does this I teach in the occupational therapy program, so we're, professional masters. Would that fall under the general, or is that in the professional education?
Are your courses that you are delivering online, are they for academic grades, or are they more on continuing professional?
No, they're for academic grades.
Yeah. So it would be the higher ed standards that you would use.
Okay. Thank you.
The ones that I've been talking about now, they're very, the continuing professional ed would be more, at the what's it called? Teaching and learning centers where they're pushing out professional development to the instructors, which are not graded. Then those would be more at that level. So there are different specific review standards and different annotations that go with that rubric.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to dive in a little bit around professional development. So Quality Matters offers professional development in a couple of different areas, really some that can be used for certification to grow certified reviewers. Obviously, we have lots and lots of institutions that get our courses reviewed, and we rely on a pool of reviewers to do that, as well as to build some campus capacity and to develop your areas of continuous improvement. One area that we work in is really workshops for improvement. And so when you think about, I've talked for 25 minutes about these Quality Matter standards. You have a little bit of an idea about them, but how do you use them? Well, I can explain it a little bit, but we have an entire workshop on how do you apply the Quality Matters rubric, how do you use it in reviews, how do you use the annotations, how do you write recommendations and look at actual courses. So that's the applying the Quality Matters rubric. And then we also, if you're designing courses, we have a Design Your Online course where you bring your course that you are looking to build and you use the standards to design an online course in a cohort fashion and actually design a module and then use that information to grow the rest of it, or improving your online course. If you've already designed a course but you're looking to improve it, you can do that. And if you have blended courses, you can do the same with that. The other area that we have is in certification. So if you're interested in, I really enjoy using the rubric and going through and doing these self-reviews that I've done, you have the ability to become peer reviewers. And then the step above that is the master reviewer. something that we've seen take off in the last, well, obviously in the last 4 months, but in the last couple of years, we have gone in more into the course delivery side. So there is a set of teaching standards that we use, and we have developed a series of 7 workshops where you can earn a online teaching certificate to demonstrate your skills in online teaching. So these are the 7 different workshops that you can earn credentials in, and then an overall certificate. And these teaching standards are come from are an execution of the design standards. They're delivery based. They too are were developed with input from the community and research supported. This being the world we're in, we have different modalities of delivering our professional development. Obviously, we drink our own champagne, so we have online courses that we deliver. So all of these workshops are delivered online. We used to, before COVID, deliver them face-to-face. Now we do them via Zoom in a virtual environment. And then we also have some shorter 1 or 2 hour workshops. We call those QM Live. These are synchronous workshops that we provide. Talk a little bit about the community. So there's only 38 employees at Quality Matters. So you can see our community really is all of our institutions, all of the certified educators we work with, and we look to delivering all of that information out to our students. As a member of Quality Matters, you also have the ability to join some special interest groups. If you're an instructional designer, we have over 1,200 instructional designers as part of our Instructional Designer Association. They put on monthly Twitter chats. They do some webinars on instructional designer learner exchange. International is probably not germane, but we have an international group as well. Included with your membership to Quality Matters is we have monthly webinars which are really showcasing best practices that other institutions have done. And these are 1-hour webinars by other Quality Matter members. We had one last month who put on had built an Excel spreadsheet from the standards and uses that for their internal reviews, and was talking about what they had done, and then freely shared that with all of the other Quality Matter members who were in attendance. We have archived all of these, and all of you get to have access to a MyQM account, which is on our website. You can go and sign up and associate yourself with Moravian, and then you have access to, I think we go back to 2015 with these monthly webinars talking about anything from how do you use the standards to how do you engage faculty, how do you do reviews. So all of the best practices from other members. So it's a wealth of information that you have access there. A little bit, how am I doing on time? Oh, good. A little bit about research. We have a research colleagues, a community of volunteer researchers who go out and provide additional research for what we are doing. We have a research library. These research colleagues can help with setting some of the research agenda that we are looking at over the years, as well as looking at some research projects. On our website is our research library with over 1,000 curated articles, peer-reviewed articles, all talking about course design and online learning. So this is where we use these research articles when we are updating the rubric, but they're also out there for you if you're interested in going out there and reviewing those things. Some of the research projects we've been working on, we're about to release our 5th fifth version of the Changing Landscapes of Online Learning, a Chloe report. So we usually do this annually, although we're pushing out 2 this year. This fifth one is all about COVID, where we interview over, I think it goes out to over 80 chief online education officers at 800. If I said 80, I meant 800, at 800 different institutions of higher learning within the United States, looking at some of the themes related to trends in quality assurance and online learning. So the other 4 are available on our website now, and the 5th one will be pushed out very soon. You guys are already members of Quality Matters, so that means that all faculty and staff have access to the fully annotated Quality Matters rubric. You have the ability to set up a QM account. You get discounts on our professional development, on our course reviews, as well as access to all of our the research and those success stories and other information that is on our website. A little bit about right now, it's just Bernie. One of the keys to success at an institution is the representative at the institution who is sort of the liaison between Quality Matters, us, and the organization. So he has already gone through or is almost completed the Quality Matters coordinator training. That is a training that sort of walks through like what are the roles and responsibilities of being a QM coordinator. And when he completes that, then he has access to, I think there are about 1,700 other Quality Matter coordinators within the 1,200 member institutions. So it's a wealth of places for him to be able to exchange ideas, and you are not limited to one coordinator. So if there are others that might, we'll let Bernie talk about that later. So that is my presentation part of this. I can walk you through some parts of the website if you would like, or I can take some questions and see what it is that how you guys want to do this going forward. There is one question in the chat. I think that's a question for Bernie around for attending various workshops. Do faculty have to pay separately, or does Moravian College cover the fees as part of its membership? Oh, that was to me privately, which I just now shared with everybody. So I'm sorry about that. So really, I won't say who sent it, and I'll just leave it as that's a good question that maybe, I don't know if Bernie's ready to answer that now, but otherwise.
So maybe when you go onto the website, maybe, Jim can go on real quick and show us, but when you go onto the website, there's all the articles, those are all free. And then you have free webinars that have been recorded. You also, they call them success stories. So those you can go attend the live sessions, and you'll get a notice probably when you register and create an account. But you can also, they're all recorded, so they have a library of success stories, and you can go in those are all free. Now, if you want to get the actual 2-week training and get, certified as I guess it's the applying the rubric, I think that has a fee where it's discounted. So there are 2, correct me, Jim, if I'm wrong, the applying the rubric and then the peer reviewing.
Correct.
They go in order.
Yes, if you're interested in understanding how to use the rubric, the Applying to Quality Matters rubric works, and then that is the prerequisite for if you wish to become a peer reviewer, you can do that as well. But I'll show you quickly because we still have some time. This is the website, qualitymatters.org. Don't look at all the other tabs I have open. I usually have a lot, so I apologize for that. But to access, so you can see here, I will show you if you go under professional development, there are some free webinars that you have access to. These are the QM success stories. So you can see the next one coming up on June 17th is Building Excellence, a community of online teaching and learning where quality matters. And this is a person from Lee College. I can't remember where Lee College is, but there's that. And then there's one in July that's from Idaho State University, breaking the humdrum of post once and reply to two others. This is about discussion boards. So this could be pretty timely on sort of how do you make high quality discussions. So those are things that are specific, they're addressed somewhat in the standards, but then these are issues that lots of instructors have. So that would be a good one. Then leveraging course health. This is the one that's happening in August. So this is where you could go and you can just sign up to register. When you register, you need to have a MyQM account. So I will show you that. If you go to MyQM login, it's where I go and I log in. You would say, if you've never been here before, you would be like, no, I'm new here. If you click through there, it'll walk you through some registration points where you enter in your name and your email address, and then you want to make sure that you affiliate yourself to Moravian because you guys are members. Bernie can look to see who's affiliating, so if you tell your friend and they're not really affiliated with Moravian, he will reject that person. So when you come here, the reference library is what I was talking about before, and Bernie was too, these QM success stories. You have access to all of these success stories. This was the one, there's one about discussion boards. Our May one's not listed up here yet because it's still new, but here's another one about improving discussion boards. I actually facilitated that, so if you go watch that one, that'll be me facilitating. But you can see these go all the way back to 2014. So we have a rich collection here of topics that would be of interest to you if you're sort of learning what is this new thing that I'm talking about, or if you're like, oh, I really have some problems with discussion boards, you can go there. If you're like, oh, I have problems with managing my own reviews, so I'm talking, if I'm doing a self-review, how do I go through that? There's some things here. Fast tracking new online instructors. This would be probably pretty timely if you're looking at, oh, what do I need to do to for someone looking to become an online instructor if I haven't done that before. That is in the reference library.
Can you show us where get the rubric and the annotations?
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to do. Across the top when you log in, you'll see MyQM. Some of these things you won't have just because I have superpowers, but you will have this one that says CRMS, which is our course review management system. This is what I talked about earlier. This is the internal area, and some of this is covered when you look at the Applying to Quality Matters rubric, but this is a good overview of this. This is if you're going to do a self-review. So you're like, oh, I have my online course. I want to do a self-review. I'll just show you what that looks like. You select the rubric. You're going to select the higher ed one because that's all there is. Here are all the general standards across the top. General standard 1 through 8. So I always go to general standard 8 because it's all about accessibility and usability. That's usually a big item that people are very interested in. And then you can see underneath general standard 8, there are these specific review standards. So standard 8 is about accessibility and usability. 8.1 is about course navigation, facilitates ease of use. And you see there are examples of, what are examples that facilitate ease of use. I don't know if you can see this, if it's too small or not.
Yeah, you can see it.
But you have access to go in and look at these once you set these up. You go in here, you can look through each one of these, standard 2, the course design facilitates readability. The course provides accessible text and images in a file. And then you have the ability to go in. This is just the example, but you would be like, oh, does this meet this or do I not meet it? If you're doing a self-review, this is just for your own edification. And then you can come down here and you can be like, prove it. Well, what evidence do I see that shows that I either met or did not meet this? And then always the beautiful, because it's, very positive. What are suggestions for improvement? And so what is it that you can do to improve your course, even if you've met this? What are some things? Because there's always room for improvement. And then, you have the ability to add some additional comments. So this is the course review management system.
Excuse me, Jim.
Yep.
Hi. When you do the course review, can you save it halfway, or do you have to do it all at once?
You can, when you are doing a self-review, you can save it and come back and review it. You have to, I'm going to say every half hour, because I think it's 2 hours. If you don't do something for a certain amount of time, it logs you out.
Okay.
So make sure you're saving your work every half hour or so when you go
Okay.
through. Otherwise,
and then you can just name your course and come back the next day. And
correct. When you start a self-review, you come in and you select the rubric, and then you just title it what you want, like the great review.
Okay, thank you.
And when you do this, if I hit save review, because I'm working in Quality Matters, I'm not going to save this just because 7 people on my team are going to get an email saying Jim is starting the great review. They'll laugh, but it's but that's what you would do, and then you could just come back in and look at your reviews that would be in here.
And where's the
So
rubric?
you would see like here are courses you're reviewing. Here's your courses you've submitted for review. You would see those in your course reviews. I just don't have any. Oh, maybe I might have a self-review one. I do have a self-review one. So I did a sample, and so these would show up here, and you can just go in and see how you can view it. And so I must have already saved this one, but because this is an old one, this one I can go in and I can edit it and continue editing.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Is there a rubric that we can print?
There is. So that was a good, yeah, that was the other one. So if I go to, if you are a tactile learner and so if I go back to Quality Matter, oh, yeah, I'll show you this is an easier way. To go back to the main web page, just hit the top logo. You can see QA resources, which is the top nav bar. Don't worry about the stuff above that. That's just because I can edit the web page. But if you click on rubrics and standards, and then you click on learn more, or the little picture of the higher ed rubric, here you can get a printable one-page copy of the standards without the annotations. To get the annotations, you would want to go into the course review management system to get it. But this gives you all the standards on one page that you are welcome to print out. And because we are, if somebody needs a screen reader or something, we do have an accessible version. It's just not as pretty. What is the role of instructional designers? Are they internal reviewers? Instructional designers can be internal reviewers if you'd like. The one thing instructional designers, unless they have taught a online course in the last 18 months, a 4-credit online course, they cannot be QM certified reviewers, but you can use instructional designers if you'd like. I mean, I think that's an internal decision to be reviewers if you would like them to be. But I'll leave that up for your internal discussions to decide. But it is possible. Yeah, so this was the area you can see there's some free webinars. I think there's actually a research webinar that's coming up. Oh, the research webinar just happened today. So this was a digital, here was one about accessibility. This one will be recorded and you'll be able to go see a list of all of those and access them as well. These are our research webinars. But if you go to this under the tab professional development free webinars, these are all the ones that you have access to now as members. Maybe I stop sharing. How many people knew about Quality Matters before I did my song and dance? Okay, a few, and a lot. Do you have somewhat of a better understanding now? Either if you did know about it, did I reinforce that, or what other sort of open questions might you have in the next 6 minutes that are very pressing? And if you don't have any, I'll yield the balance of my time back to Bernie if there's anything else that needs to be covered. Deborah, are you trying to talk?
Question. But I'm doing more internal than anything else because it's instead of any kind of external reviews for our classes. Yes. Okay.
Oh, you were garbled at the beginning. I heard that internal versus external reviews.
Right. I was wondering if we were going to utilize the internal review rather than more peer-reviewed at Moravian. I wasn't sure.
Look at me put Bernie on the spot again.
Yeah. Well, actually, there's this is voluntary, so it's up to whatever you want, whatever people want to do. The external review is very complicated because first it costs money. It costs about $1,000 to have a course. Yep. That's not something that I see very feasible at this time. But I don't know. Maybe in 5 years, who knows? I don't know. But right now, it's the purpose of this meeting was to get you acquainted with all the resources that you have there and the rubric. And you can have some fun going in there and looking at some webinars or things that might interest you. There's articles. And I think that, we already use the rubric, even though if you ever taught online and you went to one of our web designers, either Sarah or David, they use the rubric. They might not be telling you, but they're using it. So we've been members for 3 years. So we've been actually kind of doing this for a while.
Yes,
but I wanted to promote it a little bit.
The really good working with a self-review is a nice sort of non-confrontation, very, I've lost a word. I just had it.
Risk-free?
Sorry. Yeah. Risk-free. It's a very risk-free way for you can go and sort of just see how your course might stand up against these standards. I mean, obviously you're doing it, so you can be as flexible as you like, but that is a good way to sort of start. And then once you feel comfortable and then you're like, oh, maybe I want to see what somebody else might think, you could ask, do an internal review as well. Can you provide links to actual courses being taught elsewhere that meet standards? Yes, I will share my screen again and show that quickly. I know we're really near the end of the time, but across the top of the qualitymatters.org, if you go to reviews and certifications, you can see QM certified courses. And then this lists in the, looking down from there, the institutions, and you can open it up. I'm going to find someone that doesn't have thousands of courses done because it looks a little, but I don't know where Midland College is. It sounds like someplace in Texas maybe, but you can see here is the list of some of the courses that are QM certified, when they were certified. Like some of these are about to roll off because they're 5 years old, but some of these are newer, and here's the course representative, either the person teaching it or the person who is the rep for it, and what they've and when it was certified. But this is under reviews and certifications, QM certified courses. And you have the ability to look at higher ed, K-12. I mean, you probably don't care about those, but higher ed, and you can just look for who's this year. And I don't know who you guys play in sports, but you could probably look and see if there's other, what others are doing if you'd like. I think there was another question. Now I have to figure out how to get back there. Chat. Can you actually see the course itself? Oh, can you actually see the course itself? No, that would be, I'm sure the institutions don't want that either. So no, you can't see the course. You can just see the course name and what it is. Some people like to become peer reviewers because then they get invited by other institutions and get a little bit of money to go in and review, so they actually see a shell of a course. So there is that. Thank you. I'm looking forward to checking out. All right, looks like I don't want to keep you longer. I mean, I have nothing. So if you guys want to keep going, I mean, I do have other stuff to do. But if you have other questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I think I've left you with some information.
Thank you.
There are some publicly shared courses in the Canvas community. Yes. So, and then Bernie, I think I sent you the actual QM Essentials course that anybody can take. It's in Canvas. Did I send you that link? I'll send you that. It's just sort of like a overview of quality matters that people can take. I'll send you that link and you can share that out if you'd like.
Send it to
well.
me. I mean, you might have sent it to me. I don't remember.
It was probably in a list of the 20 things I sent you. So yeah, I'll get it and send it to you. Just that one thing. So you can push that out if people want to see a course that that we built that is about quality matters. It's a very short one, but you can earn a digital badge if you take it.
Well, thank you very much,
All right.
Jim. Thanks so much for taking your time to present to us.
Yeah, thank you. And I know Bernie has my contact information, so if you guys have questions, I'll make it seem like you flow through. He's over there in my Zoom picture, so flow the questions over to him, and he'll get them to me, and I can answer them. Or if you go on the website, you'll be able to find my email and send it to me too. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you. Have a good afternoon. Thanks, Bernie.